SportsCenter.
After 15 seasons, 6 championships, and 5 MVPs, the NBA's greatest hangs up his jersey. A look back at the man and the men.
Money's got to be the shoe. Shoe.
The Royals say they're in, but are they safe? And out by the Bay, could the Giants secure another sweep? On thin ice in Anaheim, would the defending champs go 4-0? Opportunity knocked in Miami. Did this NFL veteran find a new home? And older and wiser in State College. Can Jopa win one more title? Another extraordinary edition of SportsCenter now. Ray Clay with the call. 15 seasons, 6 titles, 5 MVPs, and if you're counting 3 goodbyes, greetings. Welcome to SportsCenter with Mike Tirico. I'm Dan Patrick.
Good to see you again.
Good
Great
to
to be here on a big night. The first one came in October of 1984 against Washington. 1,250 games, regular and postseason later. The finale for Michael Jordan for Washington in Philadelphia. As you would expect, everybody who could get their hands on a media credential, a ticket, or claim that they knew somebody were there to see it, hear it, and enjoy it.
It's been fun. I'm ready to go. Don't need the hoopla that comes along with it. And obviously, with me coming in the arena, you can see all what it creates. But let's get it over with and move on.
A celebrity row, the likes of a Laker game. Bill Cosby on hand. Warren Sapp and Ron Harper. Spike Lee wearing some jersey from somewhere. Before the game, MJ presented with a personalized golf cart by Dr. J and Moses Malone. How sweet is that? Special moment pregame and the familiar announcement.
North Carolina head guard, 6'6", Michael Jordan.
Yes, they brought back the old PA voice at the old Chicago Stadium, Ray Clay, for the announcement. Then they played ball in the first quarter. Michael ready, and you hoped there would be like a 45-point night. The jumper early ties the game at 11, but Michael Jordan would struggle. It's kind of the way the season was. Every time you went to a Wizards game, you'd hoped it would be a big MJ night, but it was just a lot of jump shots, some short, some long, struggling. First quarter, 4 points, 2 of 8 field goals. Everything looked the same except the finishes. Those all used to go in. They did not. Meantime, the Sixers were playing for their playoff hopes at home. Still the focus on Jordan. Nice feed to Kwame Brown. One more look at one of Michael's last assists in his brilliant career to the enigmatic Kwame Brown. Michael didn't like Tommy Nunez's call.
Hit to the curve. Michael, I didn't see 2 hands on him, Michael. But I believe you.
You did.
But I believe you. I only saw the 1 hand on him.
Tommy's on his way out. He's retiring as well. Last Michael Jordan dunk ever, right there at the end of the half. He had 9 at the break on 4 of 11 shooting. Hold on to that one. You'll never see another one again. Still down big at the half. Here's Dan.
Third quarter, Michael came out hot with a couple of jumpers. The fadeaway. The Wizards are down 18. Michael, the jumper over Eric Snow, he was 6 of 15 from the floor. The Wizards are down 13. Late in the third, MJ would take a seat, and the Sixers took advantage. Sixers off and running. Iverson behind the back to Aaron McKee. Sixers up by 23. Under a minute in the third, it's Iverson. The deflection misses the lay-in, but Keith Van Horn, Sixers by 25 after 3. And Mike can only watch. It's been a familiar watch for him with this team struggling, but the fans want one more glimpse. Jordan would oblige. He needed 2 more points to average 20 points for the season at age 40. And Michael Jordan, his scoring career ends with a pair of free throws. He leads to a standing ovation. A standing ovation not only from the fans, his teammates, but also from the opposition as AI applauds. MJ says goodbye. He's done. Final line. line for Michael, 15 points, 6 of 15 from the floor. He played 28 minutes. In his first NBA game against Washington, 16 points, 5 of 16 from the field. Here's Michael Jordan unplugged.
Now I guess it hits me that I'm not going to be in a uniform anymore. So, and that's not a terrible feeling. I'm not. It's not terrible. It's something that I've come to grips with, and it's time. It's time. And I've seen a lot of people say my first time, my second time. This is the final retirement. You don't have to worry about me putting on another uniform. But and I feel it. And I feel it. And I welcome the time away from the game. When you gotta give up something that you love, I mean, obviously it's an emotional situation. And I dealt with it. I came to grips with it. Before tonight. And tonight just brings back what impact you've had on people, not just in Chicago, not just in Washington D.C., but everywhere that you played. And to hear them yell and to hear them pay their respects that way, I mean, it's a chilling event, and it felt that way. And I felt proud about what I've done over the years playing the game. But in terms of being, I'm happy with that. I think I can move on without a problem. I never took the game for granted. I was very true to the game, and the game was very true to me. It was just that simple. I mean, the NBA is fun. I mean, you got a lot of young players who are starting to come into their own and learning more about their game and understanding the sacrifices of becoming team players, and learning how to do that within a structured system, from KG to Iverson to Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Duncan. All these guys that I named have learned how to involve their teammates. And you still got some young players on the horizon who's going to continue to do that. Vince, those players are starting to understand that you don't do it by yourself anymore. You have to involve other players, and that's the system that I want in Washington D.C. I can walk away happy. I've given everything I could to the game of basketball physically. I can still contribute mentally, but I've given everything physically that I could to the game.
So the final numbers of Michael Jordan. NBA's all-time leading scorer as far as average goes, both in the regular season and the playoffs. 32,292 career points. That's third on the all-time list, trailing only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. We'll have so much more on MJ throughout the show. We're here till 2 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
We will relive his greatest hits from North Carolina to Washington, D.C. and count down his top 10 commercials of all time. And ESPN.com question of the night, or soon to be morning. How did Michael Jordan's 2 seasons with the Wizards impact his legacy? Enhanced, diminished, nothing changed. Log on and vote. We'll have the results a little bit later on in the program.
86.5 strong minutes left. Hey, this guy going another coast to finish out his career? We'll find out what's up with Junior today and hear from him as well. The defending Stanley Cup champs on the brink. One more and the Ducks go on and the winged wheel goes home. Highlights from the pond ahead. Also the NBA. Playoffs about to begin. Playoff positioning moving on. Could Dallas win 60 and see the 3-time champs? But KG, home court, we'll tell you how it all shakes down. Surging Giants go for the extra point against the Astros. To the boys by the Bay, sweep their way to a 14th win. And the ugliness of Tuesday night in Chicago. Did it keep the Royals from taking the field Wednesday night? The league surprise team keeps us all guessing on and off the field as we continue.
SportsCenter, brought to you by Foot Locker. Got a question? Ask the guys in the stripes. And MGM's Bulletproof Monk, starring Chow Yun-fat and Sean William Scott, rated PG-13.
Here comes a fan out on the field, tackling the umpire. More goofy stuff here in Chicago.
They got to get security along the lines or something, because that was just kind of disgraceful.
The behavior of the 4 people attending tonight's game was reprehensible and will not be tolerated. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent the law allows. The actions of 4 idiots in no way reflect Sox fans or the fans of Chicago.
24-year-old Eric Dybos, that's the name of the fan who ran on the field in Chicago last night, charged this evening with aggravated battery and criminal trespassing for attacking umpire Laz Diaz. Wednesday, Major League Baseball reacted, frankly, the only way they could. said we'll fully investigate it, step up security around the league. We'll talk more about that later. But the security that was going to be there was extra present in Chicago tonight. More security people down the lines. They checked tickets a little closer. Extra PA announcements. But the Royals, especially their coach, Tom Gamboa, victimized on last year's violent visit to Chicago. Well, they went into this evening skeptical and with zero tolerance.
I know that Allard Baird, our general manager, will not let the team take the field unless he feels very certain that there won't be any more recurring incidences. And I would assume that should somebody be on the field tonight, I would assume that him and Tony would probably call our players off the field.
So with that as a backdrop, the fans, there weren't that many, 7,000, a little easier for security. One of the main reasons, the temperatures in the 70s in the Midwest, diving into the 40s as the game went on. Bottom four, game tied at 1-2 out. Carlos Lee, the grounder. Burrow is thrown to first in the dirt. Frank Thomas scores, and the Sox take a 2-1 lead. Same frame, 2 on, 2 outs. Joe Creep, the grounder, in the hole. Great diving stop here by Burrow, but the throw gets past Mike Sweeney. Maglio Ordonez scores. Sox up 3-1. Burrow bumming, made the play but couldn't close the deal. Top 8 now, take it 1 on, none out, and Burrow takes it deep to left for a home run. First major league homer, and opportune as well. It squares the game at 3. Are the Royals going to do it again? Bottom 9th, bases loaded. Tony Pena, they calling for a TO? What are you doing? He's bringing 5 infielders because Frank Thomas is up, trying to squeeze it off with the bases loaded, get the double play. It's a pop. Michael Tucker runs around in the wind. He catches it but can't plant towards the plate and throw. Have to use the cutoff, not in time. Sox win 4-3. The well-behaved fans are thrilled as the Royals, rare as it's been already in 03, lose another one. A little bit later, Scott Walker reports from Chicago. More on the incident's aftermath and Major League Baseball's reaction later in this Sports Center.
Giants had a 3-game sweep of the Astros. Bottom 1, 1 on, 1 out. Rich Aurelia. Double play ball. Jeff Kent. The throw gets by Jeff Bagwell. The double play would have ended the inning. The Giants going to score 3 in the first. Craig Biggio off Kirk Reeder. It is gone. Astros now down 5-3. Biggio's got 4 homers on the year. Later in the 5th, Jeff Kent redeems himself. 2 for 9 in the series against his former mates. Morgan Ensberg and Lance Berkman score. Kent's double would tie the game at 5. Still tied at 5, top 7. Orlando Merced brings in Richard Hidalgo. Astros win it 8-5. There was a 70-minute rain delay in this one. It just postponed the inevitable. The Giants, their second loss of the season. Well, speaking of losses, got some bad news. Closer Rob Nen, who's been on the disabled list since opening day, will undergo arthroscopic surgery on his right shoulder. No timetable for his return until after the surgery, scheduled for Friday.
Want to take it to the best finish of the night? Just happened a few minutes ago. Copper Square, downtown Phoenix. Rockies leading 3-1, bases loaded. But David DeLucci ties the score with a 2-run single. Now 3-3 and a chance for the Diamondbacks, who are reeling to get a much-needed victory. And Luis Gonzalez up with first and second. A shot. It'll officially be a single, but it's good enough for a game winner. Much needed for the Diamondbacks, who beat the Rockies tonight by the count of 4-3. That's an exciting finish. Now the hoops. Nets and Pacers. This, of course, to decide playoff seeding. Isaiah Thomas and company trying to get the 3. Reggie Miller knocked down hard by Jason Collins, continuing some bad blood between these teams. Collins called for the flagrant. Reggie stunned, down for about 2.5 minutes, stays in the game. Collins sent for ejection. Wonder if there'll be a spillover suspension for the playoffs. Jermaine O'Neal, big hoop there. Pacers get the win 90-83. They will be the 3 seed.
Pistons have the home court advantage throughout the Eastern playoffs. They were in Boston, and Tommy Heinsohn handing out his Tommy points for hustle and desire. Walter McCarty, that's W-A-L-T-A, Walter. Bimbo Cole's hustles, and that's worth a Tommy point for Walter and Bimbo. Corliss Williamson, the reigning 6th man of the year, and he could be that this year, but I don't think he'll put that on his highlight reel. There's no Tommy point for him. J.R. Bremer, the save to Tony Delk, to Mark Blunt, and JR's going to get a Tommy point. A Tommy point for Tony Delk, too.
You get one, too.
Celtics get one. They win it 99-92.
You want more East? They've got it. Magic and the Bucks. This game, winner gets the 7 seed, loser the 8. Tim Thomas around Sean Kemp for the block. Nice job on the block, and then he runs out. Reward the big man for running the floor. Tracy McGrady didn't play in this game. Coach's decision, the ankle injury. Winner got the New Jersey Nets. Loser gets the Pistons. The winner's the Bucks. Thomas had a good night. Put the Bucks up 5 here. They go on to win by 6 in the Eastern Conference.
46-35 Hornets and the 35-46 Hawks. That's Jamie Foxx, and he's probably laughing at the Hawks. Third quarter, tied at 49, Jamal Mashburn. Hornets a 2-point lead. Still in the third, Hornets up 4, 7 seconds to go. Mashburn, who had a triple-double, 15 points, 11 assists, 10 boards, to Courtney Alexander, and the Hornets win it 92-77. So here's the first-round matchups in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons take on the Magic, who fell to the 8th spot with their loss to Milwaukee. Tracy McGrady did not play in that game. Conspiracy theories abound. Detroit won the regular season series 2 games to 1. Nets and Bucks split their season series, as did the Pacers and Celtics. And the Hornets took the season series from Philly 2 games to 1. Saturday, the NBA playoffs begin with a triple header on ESPN. See first-round action at noon, 3 and 5:30 Eastern. The NBA postseason on ESPN, ESPN2, and also on ABC. Last year, the Anaheim Angels took out the heavily favored Yankees in the opening round of the playoffs en route to their first-ever World Series title. 7 months later, Anaheim's hockey team stood on the verge of eliminating the heavily favored Red Wings. Down 3-0, the Red Wings took a 7th-game mentality into tonight's Game 4 in Anaheim. The defending champs, the Wings in 7, somebody believes. Casualties with the Zamboni. Ducks looking to make history, trying to become the 2nd team to sweep the Cup champs in the first round. Brett Hall to Henrik Zetterberg. His first of the playoffs, wins up 1-0. Matthew Dandino. High sticks, Peter Sikora. Delayed penalty called. All Dandino had to do is touch the puck to stop the play. And guess what? We're tied at 1. Adam Oates knocks Dandino's stick from the puck. Play continues. Paul Correa beats Cujo. The shot from the point. Detroit on the attack. Tied at 1. Jean-Sebastien Giguère has been incredible in this series. Stevie Yzerman, point blank. Giguère makes the save. Tied at 1. A few moments ago, still tied at 1. In the third period, Jason Krog, the defending champs, hanging on by a thread, but down by 1.
Another Cujo soft goal. Game of the night. Flyers Leafs. Ken Hitchcock of the Flyers down in the series 2-1 early in the first. Darcy Tucker hits Jeremy Roenick, sets the tone, and they exchange words, and it's not where you go in postgame. All squared at 1. In the second, Roenick below the goal line, steps out and surprises Eddie the Eagle, beats Belfour. Flyers up 2-1. Off we go to the third. Roenick continuing this ever-changing battle tonight. Cross-checks Tucker. That's a penalty. 2 minutes for cross-checking. Ensuing power play. Don't give him a home power play in the playoffs. Matt Sundin, top-shelf hockey term on Roman Cechmanek, tied at 2. I'm going to get everybody's catchphrases in tonight. 30 seconds left in the third, tied at 2. Mark Recchi, wraparound chance, stopped by Belfour, who was Tugnutty tonight. Remember Ron Tugnut? Early in the extra section, Michael Hanzu's a chance. Rolls through the crease. Bobby Clark couldn't believe it. Crazy in double overtime. I mean, really crazy. Eddie the Eagle had to do some more.
Leafs win it. They're going to get a shot right away. Here it is, Tucker! And he can't beat the goalies. And Philadelphia coming close. This is Williams coming in on goal. And that looks up there. He gets the puck out front of the net. Oh, no shot by Sundin. He fanned on the backhand. Now he stutters. Sundin can't get it. Sundin can't get a shot.
Here, nothing better than Puck's OT in the playoff. Minute left, second OT, Leclerc a shot. Belfour the save and goes midair to make the catch. Oh, Bobby, give me third OT. It's approaching midnight in Toronto. Recchi coming down the wing, and it trickles through the 5-hole. Flyers win 3-2. Series tied at 2. The series will go at least 6. This one is ticketed to go 7. Bobby Clark, exhale.
TJ Ford, the sophomore All-American point guard who led Texas to the Final Four, was released from an Austin hospital tonight after being injured in a pickup game on campus. Ford was treated for 4 hours before being released. Longhorns head coach Rick Barnes visited Ford in the emergency room but refused to comment. The team spokesman would only say the injury was not life-threatening. Ford who was conscious when he arrived at the hospital, had talked about leaving Texas early to go pro. Still plenty more on this 90-minute Sports Center when Mike and I return. Much more on the 1,251st and final game of MJ's career, a career that ended tonight in Philadelphia in defeat. And the Angels and Rangers combined for 17 runs and 26 hits. A-Rod once, twice, maybe 3 times.
Goes back to Michael Jordan, jumper from out on the left. Good! The Tar Heels are going to win the national championship!
You see that footage, you saw Matt Doherty in there with Michael Jordan. Michael, his career at North Carolina, certainly a sign of things to come for him, along with winning the national title in '82. A play designed for him, and 83-84 season, the ACC Player of the Year, the Wooden Award winner, and the Naismith Award winner, as we continue to take a trip down memory lane with Michael Jordan tonight. After heading up the baseball escalator with wins in 7 of their first 8 games, the Oakland A's have free-fallen, losing 6 in a row, a skid that represents Oakland's longest victory drought in almost exactly 2 years. Tim Hudson, who defeated the Mariners on opening day, tried to stop the bleeding tonight. Freddie Garcia and catcher Dan Wilson crossed up early, and Wilson goes out to talk to him. Eric Chavez to right, and it's gone. 2-0. That's all Hudson would need. Bottom of the first, runner at first, and it's Randy Wynn. Came over from Tampa in the Lou Piniella deal. And the whiff. Next batter is Brett Boone. 9 straight set down by Hudson. Bottom 4. This never works, does it? It works! Ooh. It works! And guess what? A few times I've hit it in a row. Great defense behind him. Ichiro to Miguel Tejada, and from his knees gets one of the fastest men in the game. A's win it 4-1.
Check out what else happened in the AL West. Angels in Texas. Mike Scioscia, hands full with A-Rod. Not alone. John Lackey pitching. Bottom 7, 5-2 Texas.
Oh, man.
I know he did. Yes, he did. A-Rod, 6th of the season, 6-2 Rangers. Bottom 9, Rangers down 9-6, and off Troy Percival. 2nd homer of the game, keeping the Rangers alive, but only for a moment. 9-8 Angels. Later in the 9th, tying run on first, 2-1 count. Ball strike 2. A-Rod working it from the bench, cannot believe it. Percival, how about 97 miles of Texas? Jeez. Sit down. Game over. Angels win it by the count of 9-8. How about in football now? Sitting with Junior Seau on Super Bowl Sunday, he talked of his great pride, play his entire career in his hometown, San Diego. Oh well. 13 years as a Bolt, Seau's a Finn, officially traded to Miami today for either a 5th or 6th round draft pick in the 2004 draft. Tell you the value of a draft pick, Junior Seau, for a 5 or a 6. All he's got to do is pass the physical, then he and Zach Thomas will be a pretty intense middle of the Dolphin D. He goes left coast to right and perhaps closer to a ring.
This is a great organization, a great team, has all the integral parts of winning a championship. I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that Junior Seau needed the Miami Dolphins more than the Miami Dolphins needed Junior Seau. Why they've come up short, we don't care. What are we going to do? We're going to work. That's all we're going to do. We're going to work harder. We're going to keep working until we get it right.
This means Seau's restaurant in San Diego is still going to be open?
I would think so.
It's a good place, isn't it?
The owner may not be there as much as he normally would be.
Well, we can go visit a little more often. Junior, 12 Pro Bowls, most ever by a linebacker in the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl era. 2 ahead of the Hall of Famers, Mike Singletary and LT, both of whom have that Super Bowl ring, something Junior desperately wants and will chase now in South Florida. A guy who has rings says there are no regrets. When you take the individual stats and team results and list them with the rest of his career, Michael Jordan has not had 2 poorer NBA seasons, but his comeback gave a franchise an identity, another generation a chance to learn about him other than the sneakers, TV commercials, and video games. Sal Palantonio now on the final night in the city that once booed Santa, but did nothing but cheer for air.
On Wednesday night, the final act of Michael Jordan's flying circus did not simply come to close. It crashed unceremoniously back to earth. Jordan took more shots than any of his teammates, and he missed more. And like his team, he looked lethargic and disinterested for most of the night.
It's tough to play a game when, you know, it's not quite as much emphasis on the game, other than to see how Michael Jordan ends his career.
Indeed, in the fourth quarter, with the Wizards down by more than 20, Jordan sat on the bench, ignoring the chants from the crowd and the pleas from his head coach to go back in the game.
When they started chanting, I said, Michael, these people want to see you. And he said, I'm stiff. And I said, I understand that, but, you know, this outpouring of love and affection is coming my direction here right now, so please, you got to help me.
Obviously, the game didn't merit me, you know, going back in and, you know, maintaining or finding my competitive juices, but obviously, you know, they wanted to see me make a couple baskets and then come off, and that was very, very respectful.
It's just a basketball city. They love basketball, and they love their sports, period. You know, but the greatest player in the world to come through here for his last game, I mean, I knew people would treat him like they did.
The fourth quarter ovation lasted more than 2 minutes, and it turned out to be the signature moment of an historic night.
Now, I guess it hits me that, you know, I'm not going to be in a uniform anymore. So, and that's not a terrible feeling. You know, I'm not. You know, I don't. It's not terrible. It's something that I've come to grips with, and it's time. You know, it's time.
Michael Jordan said that when he walked away from the game the first 2 times, his body just wasn't ready to quit. This time he said, it's easier to accept because physically I know it and I feel it. In Philadelphia, Sal Palantonio, ESPN.
Got the sense this one was on his terms, Sal. Remarkably, well, not remarkably, MJ played exactly half his games at home, exactly half on the road. The stats were pretty close, too. Everything Michael did was very similar. Any way you split up the numbers, excellence throughout his career, more Jordan, including his off-the-court impact, a little bit later on in this 96.5-minute Sports Center.
The defending champion Red Wings on the ropes. Deep inside this one. Under 3 minutes to go. And Sergei Fedorov just throws one on net and it goes in. Tied at 2. We'll keep an eye on it. Still to come on the program, the Blue Jays look for their first win of the season against the Yankees. Following 5 consecutive losses, they would have to beat one of their former Blue Jays. And we'll continue to open up and close that scrapbook of Michael Jordan. The moments, the memories.
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! 63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Hello!
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Here's Jordan for 3. Yes! Did you see that one? It's over. The Bulls are the champs.
You've seen them about 1 million times in the last month, and you want to see them more. Every memory. Comparison of the Bulls during Jordan's first 9 and the 9 seasons before MJ, the impact on the franchise absolutely gigantic, especially in the postseason. Michael Jordan's Bulls, 69 playoff games, 3 titles in the 9 seasons before Jordan. They had won just 3 playoff games, and obviously the 3 titles after the return, 6 total. More MJ later in the show.
Game 2 of the Braves and Expos, 3-game series in Puerto Rico. Gary Sheffield, dare I say. And Fuego. Tomaoka. 4th on the year for Shep. 2nd homer in 2 nights. 1-0 Atlanta. Meanwhile, the Braves, Horacio Ramirez, the whiff on Orlando Cabrera. Michael Barrett, the whiff. Jose Vidro, the whiff. 7 innings, 5 Ks, 6 hits for Ramirez. 3-0 Atlanta. Ramirez against Ron Callaway. It is deep and it's not playable. Expos down 3-2. Braves get out of the 8th, bring in Johnny Smoltz. And Smoltz gets Cabrera to fly out. Braves win it. Atlanta 88-1 in the last 2 seasons when leading after 7 innings.
Across the street from the MJ goodbye, Marlins and Phillies. Ivan Rodriguez it's been a struggle. He was benched Tuesday, back in the lineup Wednesday. 1 hit in his last 6 games. First inning facing Brett Myers. Second pitch he saw, ground out to short. 5th inning, 2-0 Marlins. Rodriguez at bat against Myers. Already 1-0 the count, strike 1. Fouled off for strike 2. We've seen a lot of benders, Uncle Charlie. Now some fastball on the corner for a ball. And finally, pulls it into right, a single. Out of the streak, out of the snap, right? Snap the streak. What is he saying? Juan Encarnacion. Pudge on second after he stole the base, rips the Myers. 3-0 Fishy. And Brad Penny had his stuff. He was dealing. He had his mojo working, right? I'm just reading Stu's card here. Against Mike Lieberthal, the strike there, frozen by the breaking ball. 8 strikeouts in 7. Fishy win it 3-1.
Blue Jays Yankees, David Wells has won 6 straight starts. If you go back to last season, Carlos Delgado, 5th of the year. Toronto a 5-0. In the 6th, 2-1, Jeff Tam against Eric Almonte in the whiff. Alfonso Soriano. Trevor Miller against Nick Johnson. Blown away. Kelvin Escobar against Soriano. He got it. And Oppo, 4th on the year, Yankees within 1. Still in the bottom of the 9th, 2-minute board. Escobar against Jorge Posada, and that'll do it. Yankees K'd 9 times. Jays hold on to win it by the final of 7-6.
All right, Sox won in the 9th last night. They get Tampa again tonight. Now, we've been trashing fans after that idiot in Chicago. Some fans are just fun. They're just trying to get a foul ball. Back to them in a minute. Bottom 3, 3-0. Manny Ramirez to left. Solo shot into the monster seats. First ever home run that stood in those seats. Sox down 3-1. Still now using the shoe. It's got to be the shoes, Mike. It's wrong brand. Sorry. Bottom 8. Tied at 4. Jeremy Giambi to center field. Off the wall. An RBI double. Shea Hillenbrand scores. Sox up 5-4. And the much maligned bullpen by committee got the job done. They got the ball in the stands, too. Sox win 6-4.
Game 4, the Senators and Isles. Ottawa leading 2-1. Garth Snow hoping to end the Senators' 16-game unbeaten streak at Nassau Coliseum. Mike Fisher, center ice slapper, top shelf, peanut butter shelf. Fisher's first goal in the playoffs. Marian Hossa
Along the goal line.
to Martin Havlet, and the puck will go in. I'd like to see the replay. Hossa's pass actually deflected into his own net by Oleg Kvasha. Sends up 3-1. Hossa credited with the goal. Martin Havlet, good look in the net. Snow falls down, flips it over, and a great kick save.
Beautiful.
The replay? Do I get a replay? No replay. Fire the replay guy. Sens win 3-1. They lead 3-1.
All right, Avalanche trying to go 3-1 up on the road as well. In Minnesota to take on the Wild and Patty Waugh. First period, no score. Joe Sakic, nice moves. On the way down, he puts it in. Third of the series for Joe, 1-0 Avs. Here's the replay, man. Bates Battaglia. I'm going to lift your stick, Dwayne Rollison. Minutes later, Avs on the power play. Forsberg to Sakic, second goal of the game. A laser. Colorado leading 2-0 after that. We're changing netminders. Manny Fernandez in, trying to stir the troops up. Second period, Patty Waugh, time to stand on your head. Oh, he went post to post to make the save. There's another hockey turn. Avs win 3-1, leading series 3-1. Try to close it out in the Rockies in a couple of days.
The defending champs, they have one more period, perhaps, in their season. They're tied at 2. Sergei Fedorov, inside 3 minutes in the second period, coming to a close, threw one on goal, and it trickled in of Jean-Sebastien Giguère. One of the few mistakes, or maybe you want to look at it this way, one of the few breaks the Red Wings have had in this series. Still down 3-0. We will keep a close eye on this one in the final period because we're here for the next hour. If you're just joining us, I'm Dan Patrick along with Mike Tirico, following Michael Jordan's big night, his final game of his career, and also the playoff situation out west. Now, explain this to me. Portland Trailblazers are playing the Clippers.
Right.
All they had to do was beat the Clippers, and that meant?
The lowly Clippers.
Okay.
All right. And that meant Portland would have secured the spot against Minnesota, because Minnesota won earlier tonight in the 4-5 matchup. And the Lakers would have played Dallas. Poor Dallas. They win 60 games, #1 seed in the NBA for 162 days. They could go in their pillow after win 60 and wake up to the 3-time champion Lakers.
Okay, but let's say Portland would lose to the lowly Clippers.
Yeah, it couldn't happen. But if it did, well then Portland would play Dallas and the Lakers would play Minnesota. So it might help Portland. No, it wouldn't help Portland. It would be bad. It would be disgraceful.
It is.
What happened?
That's a tease.
Oh, you're
Still
the best.
much more to come on SportsCenter. Segue. including highlights from the second half of Michael Jordan's astounding career, plus a top 10 look at MJ's marketing mojo. Back on the ice, the Caps look to avenge an overtime breakdown in Game 3. Could Yager seal Tampa's fate in Game 4? Would the Lightning strike twice? Back to baseball. We'll take you for Mike Piazza does something he hasn't done all year, finally. While Sammy started off Wednesday's game with his 502nd, but could the Cubbies go the distance against the Reds? And across town, the night after, the game goes on. So what changed?
This is SportsCenter on ESPN.
Welcome back. No NBA team has been knocked out its first 6 straight years in the playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves' 6 first-round exits have come with 6 years not having the home court advantage. But that could change tonight, or really last night. With a franchise record 51st win, they get the 4 seed. Just go to Memphis, avoid Beal, and get Hubie Brown's team. Beat him, that's all. KG, call is out for you, and he was strung early. The putback dunk, jumper over Stromile Swift, the move across the lane. Kevin Garnett was huge tonight, while Memphis couldn't convert because he was there. Defensive presence, the block on Ryan Humphrey. Now the pretty spin move and the fade for Garnett. 19 points, 16 rebounds. Also helped by Wally enough that Minnesota locks down the 4 seed with a 51st win.
Blazers would clinch the 5th spot in the West with a win over the Clippers. Scottie Pippen back in the Blazer lineup. Belton Brand with a steal. Brand and a facial on Arvydas Sabonis. Not my Vitas, not your Vitas, Arvydas Sabonis. Clippers by 6. Somewhere Craig Kilborn's left. Bonzi Wells over Eric Piatkowski. He's not my Piat. Never. Andre Miller, tough year, tough jumper. And guess what? The Clippers beat the Blazers. How does that happen?
Simultaneous, the Lake Show taking on the Warriors. They needed that help from the Clips and a win to get the 5 seed. Kobe needed 39 to become the first Laker to average 30 since Mr. Logo. Jerry West did it 33 years ago. Kobe a triple at the buzzer, +4 at the break. He had 19. He needed 215 points to be the NBA's leading scorer this year. The facial dunk. You like that? Kobe with 23. The spin move in the lane, the reverse, he had 25. Lakers down 1. They had to come back. Corner triple, Kobe. Kobe, drive, layup, 30 through 3. Move later on. Lakers down 1. Kobe Bryant one more time. The Lakers get the victory at Golden State. He had 44, and the Lakers get the 5 seed.
Spurs and Mavs. David Robinson playing in his final regular season game. Spurs have already clinched home court advantage throughout the playoffs. Tim Duncan sitting out the regular season finale. David Robinson, 7 points, 9 boards. Spurs in 5. Dirk Nowitzki, 25 points, 10 rebounds. Still in the third period, Finn Dog, Michael Finley. Both teams end up 60 and 22. Mavs win 93-72, but the Spurs have the home court advantage throughout playoffs.
And I got one more for you. Because the Mavs won, that made Sacramento's game insignificant. Karl Malone, like many of you, watched MJ say goodbye. Jordan's the 3rd all-time leading scorer by points in the NBA. Malone is 2. Bobby Jacks to Jimmy Jacks. Unrelated, but like they were family there. Sacramento down 3 early. Third quarter, Kings up 6. Great run in the third quarter. Stojakovic, Christie, throw it down. Give me the high to your wife. Give me another win. 95-84 in Sacktown. All right, your Western matchup. These are going to be phenomenal series. Spurs, Suns, Phoenix won the season series 5:30 Saturday on ESPN. Kings, Jazz Saturday night. The game tonight, nobody really showed much. Mavs end up getting the Blazers 8 o'clock Saturday night. Those series open on Turner.
And Kevin Garnett finally gets home court advantage.
And hi, here come the 3-time defending champs. The guys who used to call Minneapolis home, the Laker franchise. 3:30 Eastern. Our coverage begins at 3 Eastern on ABC on Sunday. Off we go.
Tom Gamboa, the Royals bullpen coach, still has a slight hearing loss in his right ear stemming from last year's attack during a game in Chicago. Now 7 months later, Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig announced today he will review safety at ballparks nationwide following last night's attack in the same stadium on umpire Laz Diaz. Tonight, in the series finale between Kansas City and Chicago, there was a heightened awareness on security. Here's Scott Walker.
You don't really think lightning's going to strike twice in the same place, and you know, not once, not twice, but 4 times last night.
Tom Gamboa and the Royals lived through a nightmare on their final trip to Chicago last season. When they suffered deja vu Tuesday night, the team had serious concerns about its safety.
It got to the point where I told our guys in the bullpen, when the game's over, whether we win or lose, as a group, we're going to go into the dugout because, you know, there's strength in numbers.
Well, how close did you guys come to not playing this game?
Well, what I said last night I meant. It was a concern. I voiced my opinion late last night to ownership and told them how I felt. And if something wasn't done, we wouldn't have played.
The incident prompted Major League Baseball to send 2 of its top executives to Chicago. They met with both teams after batting practice to reassure them that baseball would keep its safety promise.
We had promised them to be more proactive in our approach and to position our people in the right places. But having said that, I told them that last night there was no question we failed. We didn't get it done.
They did everything possible. They added some guys down the lines, and I think they watched it pretty tight, you know, so can't really do much more than that.
How much did you think about looking over your shoulder at any given point?
I did once during the game. I heard the crowd starting to get excited, and the first thing I did was look and see if anyone was on the field. And you shouldn't have to think that way. We're playing a game of baseball that we love. We've been doing it since kids, and the last thing you should think about when you're on the ball field is a fan coming on the field.
How long do you think it will take to get rid of that?
Probably about a day. We leave Comiskey tomorrow, so once we leave here, we'll be fine.
Sandy Alderson of the commissioner's office also reassured the White Sox that this year's All-Star game would not be moved from Chicago for security issues. But he also said every aspect of a sports team is judged on wins and losses, and the White Sox must act now to change their security record. In Chicago, Scott Walker, ESPN.
Let's stay in Chicago. 11 pitchers, 18 walks, 3 errors, 4 wild pitches. Welcome to Wrigley. Cubs, Reds, and Sammy Sosa. 3-run homer in the bottom of the first off Paul Wilson. Sammy's 3rd on the year, number 502 of his Hall of Fame career. Moises Alou, bottom 7, gone. First of the year, Cubs had 4 home runs and win it by the final of 10-4.
Milwaukee, St. Louis, good beer comes to mind. Top 2, 2-0 Cards. Wayne Franklin faces opposing pitcher Matt Morris. What is going on with pitchers going yard this year? Solo shot to left center, first of his career. 3-0 Cards. The pitcher's bats must be juiced. 6-1 Cards. Scott Rowland, 2-run shot left center. 2nd of the game, 5th of the year. I think the Cards took care of that one. 15-2 over the crew of Brew.
Mets and Pirates, bottom 3. David Cohn facing Jason Kendall. Pirates up 1-0. Kenny Lofton at second. Kendall with a knock. Lofton coming around, and he's going to test Jeremy Burnett. Has Lofton dead at the plate, but Mike Piazza drops the ball in the tag. Pirates up 2-0. Top 4, still 2-0. Mike Piazza has just left the building. First homer of the year, first extra base hit of the season. In his 36th at bat, Mets down 2-1. Bottom 7, David Weathers dealing to Adam his due. Shinjo trying to bring it in and can't come up with it. 2 runs come plateward. Pirates up 5-2. The new and improved Pirates go on to win it by the final of 6-3.
Love the battle in Buckos. Pods and Dodgers, the West Coast games are over. Gosh, what a long night. Top 4 scoreless runner on Kazushi. Strikes out Xavier. Net him up. Paul LaDuca. Rondell White, you're out. Strike him out. Throw him out. Ishii, 5 strikeouts in 7 innings. Bottom 6, 1-0 Dodgers. Brian Lawrence pitches to Crime Dog McGriff. Doubles to right. Sean Green comes home. Brian Jordan's next. We got Gary Bennett. We got to play the plate. Strap it in. Hold on. Collision. Fierce. Toughest collision of the season. Early reports sprained knee for the catcher. 3-0 Dodgers. That's the final score of that one. As we move forward, spring football with Chris Lee and Kirk. Life is good. Not in Penn State. They lost a 2,000-yard rusher. How do you replace LJ, Larry Johnson? And more Michael Jordan memories will take you back to the 23 and the 45 days in Chicago, the days of the three-peat. Last one against the Jazz.
MJ, top of the circle against Russell. Michael hangs, fires, scores! And it goes well! And Michael is dead on his feet.
Michael Jordan, incredible.
Somehow, some way, he scores. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. That
been the last shot Michael Jordan will ever take in the NBA.
Well, Bob Costas, he had a few more after that, but here's a look at the Bulls' 2 3-peat title runs. Jordan's scoring average was greater during the first three-peat. The Bulls' winning percentage was higher during the second run. Chicago's playoff record in each of those 2 3-peat runs, exactly the same.
More MJ still ahead. Didn't he have a piece of the Washington Capitals there for a while? Maybe we'll get back into that. In any case, Washington has been a hideous home playoff team. Only Vancouver has been worse. No home team has won the first 3 games of the Lightning Capital series. Are you ready for game 4? Let's go. Second period, no score. Martin St. Louis, the beautiful, will beat Toley, the goalie. St. Louis scored 2 on the night. It's 1-0. Capitals are down. J.C. Doig, slap shot. Peter Bondra, tip, please. Tied at 1. Now the Ning are up 2-1 in the third. Watch Vincent Lecavalier, who's been huge. Wins the faceoff, beats Halpern to the net, slams home the rebound. This series is tied at 2. No home team has won. It's now a best 2 out of 3 home ice advantage.
Tampa. Game 4, the Canucks and Blues held in St. Louis. Blues up 2-1. Chris Osgood and the Blues looking to go up 3 games to 1. Trevor Linden on the breakaway. And Osgood, very good. Blues still down 1. Second period tied at 1. Brandon Reed on the breakaway, but Osgood, 32 saves. Tied at 1. Doug Wade, Dallas Drake. Drake's first of the playoffs, 2-1 Blues. Third period, Martin Ruzinski, the 2-on-1 to Drake, back to Ruzinski. First playoff goal. He would add another one, and the Blues win it 4-1. Thursday night, the Stanley Cup playoffs continue on our family of networks. At 7 Eastern, the Devils look to close out the Bruins. Meanwhile, over on ESPN 2 at 7:30 Eastern, Game 5 of the Oilers and Stars. That series tied at 2 games apiece. And we do have a final in the Anaheim-Detroit game. And the defending champs are done. As I'm checking out one of the monitors, I'm watching the Anaheim Ducks. Steve Ruchin, I think, just scored the game winner. And the Detroit Red Wings have been eliminated. We're trying to prepare our score panel for you on this one, but just giving the information, the Detroit Red Wings are done in the postseason. If we get a chance, we'll show you that game-winning goal. This is in overtime.
The Ducks were buzzing. They had a couple of chances. Joseph made a kick save right before this. And there you have it. Ruchin, the game winner. So the Detroit Red Wings, the defending Stanley Cup champs, the team that had the #1 record in the NHL until the final day of the season, a team that scored an average of 4.2 goals in its last 22 games of the regular season, couldn't put the puck in the net. Jean-Sébastien Giguère was huge, and the Anaheim Mighty Ducks have knocked out the Red Wings. And there's historical perspective on this as well, because it may be the end of Steve Yzerman's career, could be the breakup of a lot of the veterans of the Red Wings. We'll have more on that coming up.
Yeah, we'll get to Gary Thorne and Bill Clement a little bit later on. They called the game, and we'll get their perspective on this. And also look at previous Stanley Cup champions ousted in the opening round. It's been a long time since that's happened.
This is certainly huge, though. The team that dominates the city of Detroit sees its season end before the Pistons' playoffs start. More later on that. Now, I'm sure you have been wondering, how does Chris Fowler get an emotional come-down from 3 weeks with Dick Vitale and Digger Phelps? Does Lee Corso sharpen his pencils in the offseason? And does Kirk Herbstreit monitor the Oklahoma drills for every Division I team in spring ball while trying to keep up with his 3 kids under age 3? If you also care about Penn State and how they're going to do without 2,000-yard rusher Larry Johnson, we'll hear his spring football stop 3 of 5 for the College Game Day crew.
Joseph Vincent Paterno, the ultimate icon in coaching, the all-time leader in 1A wins. His legacy felt everywhere here at Penn State. That's the museum, and it's the Paterno Library. Joe and Sue, generous donors. In fact, as our 5 schools and 5 days caravan heads to Penn State, we're reminded that really it ought to be Joe Pa Valley, not Happy Valley. The Lions restored the roar with a 9-4 season. Expectations are high. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit. It's a rare treat. Usually these Penn State practices behind closed doors. Yeah. Every road trip should have some souvenirs, and here's mine. It's the lunch menu from today, but on the back, Joe Paterno drawing up some old formations, some old plays. 1944 high school football in Brooklyn, the no-huddle offense.
And one team beat him, St. Cecilia's. Who was the coach?
Vince
Lombardi.
Lombardi.
We're
Good
paying
job,
attention.
man.
You guys are paying attention.
This is about the 60th year of spring practice for Joe Paterno. It's a time of teaching that he really savors and a time he's not looking to step away from anytime soon.
When I get up in the morning, I'm not trying to figure out how I can maybe get somebody to play a little lower on defense, or how we can get a guy to go up for the football in the crowd, or to get a quarterback to read a coverage a little better. You know what I mean? All those little things that this much makes a big difference someplace. You know, you can take a season and it's one play here, one play there, one play there, and so I think all of that is what you're in it for. So to me, this is great. I come out here a beautiful day like this. What do you want me to be home cutting grass?
He's jacked up, man. It's contagious.
Well, you know, one thing about Joe Paterno that I really love is the guy really knows what he wants to do. And let me tell you, one of the things he's done the best, longevity. Of all the records that Joe has set, this is my favorite. Listen to this. In Joe's 37 years as the head football coach at Penn State, there have been 726 head coaching changes in Division 1A. 726. That's an average of 6 per school. That's worth my second yo of the spring. Now, the key to Joe Paterno's passion. That's he loves football, he loves his family, he loves Penn State. That's the key to Joe Paterno. And Kirk, remember we had him at lunch today, and I said to him, how long do you think he'll coach? He said, guaranteed he'd coach to December 21st, 2006, because that's his 80th birthday. He might go further. In fact, if Bobby Bowden's going to catch him, he'll have to be 110 to catch Joe Paterno the way he looks now.
I tell you what, when you look as good as Joe Paterno, you don't want to put a timeline on when you're going to end your coaching career. He looks phenomenal, and he's going to continue to go on and win a lot of football games. One of the other things that he's been able to build here on his way to such legendary status is stability within this program. You look at his assistant coaches. Of the 9 assistant coaches coming into this fall, the average tenure for these coaches is 13 years on this staff. When you have that kind of stability, it helps in recruiting. It helps with the players' relationship with their assistant coaches and the head coach. You know what to expect from Penn State football, not only because of Joe Paterno, but because of that staff.
Great staff.
Well, this time of year, he's trying to figure out the personality of the team, reshape it. He's going to have to replace some important guys in the trenches on both sides, new O-line, and on defense especially. When you watch the draft, you see guys like Jimmy Kennedy, Michael Haynes, huge holes to fill. And, oh, by the way, one of the most productive running backs in Penn State history, Larry Johnson, who dropped by practice today to check out the heir apparent. Here's Reese Davis with the spring syllabus.
Larry Johnson not only gained nearly 2,100 yards, he fixed more breakdowns than Dr. Phil. The Nittany Lion offense won't have that luxury next fall, especially with a rebuilt O-line. All-American Jimmy Kennedy isn't on the defensive line anymore either. Zach Mills, with a healthy shoulder, should produce as he did as a freshman in 2001. Wide receiver Tony Johnson makes the great catch look routine. He scored 3 touchdowns and averaged 16 yards a catch last season. The linebackers and secondary, solid last year, will be even better. In place of LJ, the Nittany Lions will first look to MG, Mike Gasparotto, and PG, Pete Gilmore, both fourth-year juniors. The famed hero position will come down to junior Chris Harrell and senior Yaakov Yisrael, a former starter who missed last year with a knee injury. The schedule will help Penn State because Michigan isn't on it. The Lions have lost the last 6 to the Maize and Blue. The non-conference schedule is a tad soft. There is the road trip to Nebraska, but some might argue that's not as tough as it used to be. Getting Iowa and Ohio State on consecutive Saturdays will be this season's toughest stretch.
Tough schedule and daunting numbers to replace. More than 70% of the teams rushing between Larry and Bryant Johnson, about 61% of the all-purpose yards. And between Haynes and Kennedy, they had 23.5 sacks. Now, we see some very good defensive line prospects out here. As for filling Johnson's void, I don't know if we see a lot of standout running backs on this field.
No, and you're going to see these guys are going to get an opportunity to play at running back, but keep an eye on 2 incoming freshmen, Austin Scott out of Pennsylvania and Rodney Kinlaw out of South Carolina. I think both those true freshmen will get a look this fall. Now, the pressure of this offense is going to go from Larry Johnson to Zach Mills. Zach Mills last year, remember, he really has come on and really developed as a quarterback. Now, I think he's anxious to get back on the field because he didn't play that well in the bowl game. He and Michael Robinson give him a heck of a tandem at the quarterback quarterback position. And one thing to remember about this Penn State offense, they need to replace 4 offensive linemen up front. That'll be the big issue this spring and carrying over into the fall.
You know, Mills on a very short list of highly productive, big-name quarterbacks coming back all across college football.
Yeah, but there's one at Ole Miss. Eli Manning is back. He's bigger, stronger, and he's faster and meaner. He's come back on a mission for his 5th year. In the spring game against the #1 defense, he had 14 for 18 for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half. I think Eli Manning is one of my top 3 favorites for the Heisman coming up next year. I think he's going to have a great year.
Well, to win the Heisman, he's going to have to win football games. You know, to be a top 3, that's really saying something about Eli Manning. Another quarterback to watch this year. There's going to be some great battles throughout the country, but in East Lansing, Michigan, new head coach John L. Smith has said he's going to bring back Jeff Smoker. Right now, top to bottom, he's not on the depth chart. He's what right now they're labeling as being on probation period. They're going to give him a chance to do everything he needs to do in the classroom, off the field, and on the football field. If he does all those things, by the time they come around to August, Jeff Smoker will not be not only reinstated, he'll be their starting quarterback.
Lions look pretty good out here. Michigan pretty good, but preseason Big Ten favorite? Oh, got to be the Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes.
Here in Happy Valley, 5 of their first 6 home games right here. The exception, of course, that game at Nebraska. Let's go back to the studio.
Coach Corso already talking Heisman. Yep, they're celebrating. Why are they celebrating? Well, we'll show you. Gary Thorne and Bill Clement will join us from Anaheim. The Mighty Ducks living up to their nickname. Shaq Diesel isn't the only Diesel ruling L.A. We put Vin Diesel on the Budweiser hot seat, and Michael Jordan's scrapbook closed earlier tonight with a loss in Philadelphia. We'll continue to take that stroll down memory lane with MJ.
Jordan the jumper. Got it! You got it at the buzzer! Jordan does it to Cleveland again!